It was said that in a village deep in the heart of Africa, there was a chief named Jabari. He was strong, wise, and had the respect of all his people. But most of all, Jabari had something very precious. He had the trust of his best friend, Kwame. Now, Kwame was not just any friend. He had grown up with Jabari, playing in the dust and chasing chickens together. When Jabari became chief, Kwame was always by his side, offering advice and cracking jokes that could make even the grumpiest elder smile. They were like two baobab trees, tall and strong, their roots entwined so deeply that nothing could ever separate them, or so it seemed. One day a traveler came to the village. He was a man of few words, with eyes that seemed to see straight into your soul. His name was Jabari, and he brought with him stories of faraway lands and strange magic. The villagers were fascinated by him, gathering around the fire every night to listen to his tale. There was something else about Jabari, something that made even the goats uneasy. They would bleat and skitter away whenever he came near. Jabari welcomed Jabari with open arms, offering him a place to stay and food to eat. After all, in their village, they believed in the saying, "A guest is a blessing." Kwame had his doubts. There was something about Jabari that made the hairs on the back of his neck stand up like a porcupine's quill. One evening, as the fire crackled and the stars twinkled like diamonds in the sky, Jabari told the villagers a tale of a magical amulet could give its wearer great power. "This amulet," he said, his voice low and mysterious, "can make a man as strong as 10 lions and as wise as 10 elders. But it comes with a price, a heavy price." The villagers gasped, leaning in closer, their eyes wide with wonder. Jabari, too, was intrigued. He imagined what he could do with such power. He could protect his village from any danger, bring more prosperity, and perhaps, just perhaps, make his name known far beyond the borders of their land. Kwame? Kwame just snorted and shook his head. "Power like that," he muttered to himself, "is like a thorn in your foot. It might seem small, but it will hurt you with every step." As the days passed, Jabari became more and more obsessed with the idea of finding the amulet. He started to ask Jabari more questions, trying to learn where it might be hidden. And Jabari, with a sly smile that only Kwame seemed to notice, began to weave his web. "The amulet," Jabari said one night, "is hidden in a cave at the edge of the great forest. But beware, many have sought it and none have returned." Jabari's mind was made up. He would find the amulet, no matter the cost. And who better to accompany him than his trusted friend, Kwame? After all, Kwame had always been by his side. Surely he would be there now. But when Jabari asked Kwame to join him, Kwame hesitated. "Jabari," said slowly, "we have everything we need here. Why chase after something that could bring more harm than good?" Jabari frowned, his eyes narrowing. "Kwame, this is for the good of the village. Imagine what we could do with that kind of power. We could be legends." Kwame sighed. He could see that his friend's mind was set, and so, with a heavy heart, he agreed to go. But deep inside, Kwame felt a cold knot of dread forming in his stomach, like a snake coiling up and preparing to strike. The next morning, Jabari and Kwame set off into the great forest, with Jabari watching them go, a strange glint in his eye. The journey was long and difficult. They crossed rivers where crocodiles watched them with hungry eyes, climbed steep hills where the rocks threatened to slip under their feet, and pushed through thick bushes that scratched their skin and tore at their clothes. Finally, they reached the cave. It was dark and silent, like the mouth of a great beast waiting to swallow them whole. The air inside was cold and damp, and their footsteps echoed eerily as they ventured deeper and deeper. At last, they came to a small chamber, and there, sitting on a stone pedestal, was the amulet. It was beautiful, glowing with a soft, golden light. It seemed to pulse like a heartbeat. Jabari's eyes lit up with excitement. "Kwame?" Kwame felt that knot of dread tighten even more. "Jabari," Kwame said, his voice trembling slightly, "we should leave it. There's something not right about this place." But Jabari was no longer listening. He reached out and grabbed the amulet, feeling its power surge through him like lightning. Felt invincible, like he could conquer the world. But as he turned to show Kwame, something changed. The light in the amulet dimmed, and Jabari's face twisted with pain. He tried to let go, but the amulet seemed to be stuck to his hand, burning him. "Kwame!" shouted, his voice filled with panic. Kwame rushed forward, but as he reached out to help, something terrible happened. The ground beneath them shook, and the walls of the cave began to crumble. Kwame grabbed Jabari's arm and pulled with all his strength, but the amulet wouldn't budge. Realizing that they were both in danger, Kwame did the only thing he could think of. He drew his knife and, with tears in his eyes, cut the strap of the amulet. Jabari was free. The amulet fell to the ground, glow fading completely. The cave was collapsing around them, and with one last desperate effort, Kwame dragged Jabari towards the exit. They barely made it out before the cave was swallowed by the earth. Amulet lost forever. They lay on the ground, panting and covered in dust. Jabari looked at Kwame, his eyes filled with a mixture of gratitude and shame. "You saved me," he whispered, voice hoarse. Kwame nodded, but he said nothing. The journey back to the village was quiet, the weight of what had happened hanging heavily between them. When they returned, Jabari was gone, leaving only a note that said, "Power can be a gift, but it can also be a curse. Beware what you seek." Jabari realized that his obsession had nearly destroyed him, and that he had almost lost the one person he could always count on. He apologized to Kwame, who simply smiled and said, "Next time, let's stick to chasing chickens instead of power." From that day on, Jabari ruled with more wisdom, knowing that true strength didn't come from magic or power, from the loyalty and trust of those who stood by your side. And as for Kwame, he never let Jabari forget it, reminding him every time they passed a chicken, "Remember, Chief, stick to what you know." And so, the village thrived, not because of the power they sought, but because of the friendship and loyalty that had always been their true strength. And if you ever visit that village, you might still hear the laughter of a chief and his best friend, chasing chickens together like they did when they were young.